Okay, hello parents and students. Today is going to be the homework lesson for lesson 6, session 2. So on today we actually talked about multiplying just with 3. So today we focus just primarily with 3s. Make sure you are practicing the skip counting. Today we'll skip counting with 3. You can't really see it on my wall, but I do have the skip count over here for 3. So that will be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and then 10 would be 30. So make sure you are practicing that skip count. Remember, if you can skip count, you can multiply. So the numbers that we have been working with skip count, I'll go ahead and say those again. We have worked with 0, we have worked with 1, 2, we're now doing 3, we're now doing 4, we've done 5, we're focusing on 6 this week, and then 10. So those are the numbers that you should practice with skip counting. On today, I actually gave them a little skip count worksheet and I timed them. I gave them 5 minutes to see how many that they could do in 5 minutes of those numbers I just named to you. And I had a good amount of kids who really did really well with it. So that means you're practicing. I appreciate that because remember, if you can skip count, you can multiply. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on in with the lesson. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because I don't want it to be kind of in the way of when I write on here. So yeah, now I can see it without that banner in the way. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, let's look at the first one. So it says, and the homework pages are pages 135 and 136. That's the 2 pages we're focusing on today. So it says, use the array at the right to solve problems 1 through 4. So again, on yesterday, we kind of started with, not kind of, but we did start with the strategy of doing an array and breaking it into 2 smaller arrays, because sometimes when we see the big array, we don't know the actual multiplication fact to solve it because we're just starting to learn our multiplication. So what they do, they break it up into 2 smaller facts that we've already practiced and we know to help us solve the big one. So we break it up, solve the 2 smaller, then we're going to add it back together to get the answer to the big one. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's go ahead and get started. So for number 1, it says how many rows and columns are in the array. So this is the array that I put over here on the board. If you look at this array, remember when we talk about arrays, arrays deal with rows and columns. Rows go side to side or left to right, and then columns go up and down. So if I look at this, you can say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and I have 1, 2, 3 columns. Or you can say I have 5 rows with 3 in each row. That would still mean the columns. Okay, so this is 5 rows with 3 in each row. So we go to number 1. They want to ask us, well, how many rows and columns? So if I look at this, if I look at my rows, I tell the kids an easy way to know what rows are, you can underline them. So you can say I have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows. I have 5 rows. So that means I'm going to put 5 on the line. Okay. Now let's go to the columns. So I'm going to go to the columns, and remember my columns go up and down, up and down. So if I look at this, I have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. So this would be 3. And I went again with the blackboard today because I did get some feedback on yesterday. I appreciate your feedback. It really did help me out a lot. And you say you see way so much better with the blackboard. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the blackboard. And if you have any other feedback you want to give to me, I welcome all feedback. Thank you. So let's keep going. So number 2 says, circle the columns to break apart the array. So now they want me to circle the columns. So I am going to erase those lines. And when I erase those lines, I'm going to put these back because this will also erase. Okay, so I erased the lines because I want to show you how we're going to actually start getting into the break apart process. So they want us to circle the columns to break it apart. Now, this is, because we're working with 3, we have 3 columns. The multiplication equation for this is actually 5 times 3. So we are working with 3's today. They want us to break apart the columns. Remember, the first number is your rows. The second number is your columns. So this is the number they want us to break apart, the 3. So these are the 3 columns. And they want us to break it into something that is easier to solve for us because we've done 1 and 2 on last week. So that's what they want you to break it up into. They want you to break it up into 1 column and 2 columns. So this is how we're going to do it. This is how I showed the kids how to do it in class. So I'm going to draw a line after the first column. That will break it apart. So when it breaks it apart, now this is one array, and this side, I'm going to do it in a different color. This side is now my second array. So these are the 2 separate arrays that we break it up into. So when it says to circle the columns to break it up into 2 parts, this is the 2 parts. I'll write at the bottom, again, this is 1 part, and this is 2 parts. And again, the reason why we broke it up like this is because we are breaking 3 up into 1 and 2. If I add 1 plus 2, it'll give me back my 3. That's why we broke it up that way. So let's keep going. So we have done number 2. We circled to break it up into 2 parts. So let's go to number 3. Number 3 says, write multiplication facts to show the total of each part of the array. So now they want us to write multiplication facts for this side, this array we did here, and they want us to do a multiplication fact for this array right here. Okay, let's do that. So if I look at my first array, this is going to be this array right here. Now before I do that, Ms. Newman always likes to label our lines so we know exactly what numbers are going where. So I'm going to do that right now. So my first line is going to be my rows. Second line we said our columns. And the last line is going to be the total or the product. Product, again, is another vocabulary word that we are working with, and product means the answer to our multiplication question. So now I'm going to put these same labels on these blanks here. Again, first number is going to be the rows, and this is when you're dealing with an array. When you're dealing with groups, then those lines are going to say something else. But right now we're working with the array. First line is rows. Second line is going to be your columns. And the last line is going to be your total, which is also called your product. Okay, so now we are all set. Let's go ahead and get started. So they want me to write a multiplication equation for this first one that we circled. So if I look at this, how many rows do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So that means I'm going to put 5 for my first number. The second one I have the columns. So how many columns? Well, we only have 1 column. We only have 1 column. Or you can say, how many do you have in each row? Well, we only have 1 in each row. So this is going to be 1. Now, if we are going to do the total is going to be 5 times 1, and this is going to equal 5. Well, you're going to say, Ms. Newman, how do you know it equals 5? Well, that's easy. All you have to do is go in and count. So we can count to see how many. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That tells me I have a total, which is our total, of 5. That's how we know. So now we've done our first one. Everything is good. Let's go to the second one. So let's look at our second array. This one here is our second array. So we look again with the rows because remember the first number in our multiplication equation is the rows. So let's count how many rows. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means when I write on this line, let me get a different color because I want it to kind of be different. Let's try, I'm gonna go with blue. Okay, so my rows were 5. All right, so now let's go to the columns. Well, in this array, I have 1 column, 2 columns, or I can say I have 2 in each row. They're both the same thing. So again, I have 1 column, 2 columns. So that means this is going to be 2. Now we need to figure out our total. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. So again, you might say, Ms. Newman, how do you know that's 10? Okay, we can do a skip count or we can count them individually. Since we have been working on our skip counting, Ms. Newman is going to do the skip counting, but I'm going to also show you how to do it individually if you want to do it that way. So if I'm skip counting, then that means I am going to skip count by 2 because I have 2 in each row. So let's go ahead and do a skip count on the side. And I'm going to see if I can move this. Let's see if I can move this down. Yes. Perfect. So I'm going to move this down so it's not in our way. All right. So now we can go ahead and do our skip counting. So let's skip count. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 was exactly the total we got. So you might say, well, Ms. Newman, I'm still not too good with my skip counting, and I want to make sure I got it correct. Well, that's no problem. There's a way we can do it to make sure we get it correct. You can just go ahead and count them individually. So let's do that. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we got 10 again. So that lets us know for sure that we know our answer is 10. But make sure you're practicing that skip counting because skip counting is quicker, especially when you have, sometimes you might have a lot to count. And if you skip count, you can get through it a little quicker than counting them one by one. So now we have written our equations for both of these. And we are now ready to move on to number 4. So number 4 says, how can you use the facts from problem 3 to find 5 times 3? Explain. So they want us to use the facts from problem 3 to help us solve this equation that we wrote. The equation was over here. Let me see if I can move it over so I can get a little closer. Oh, the whole thing is moving. Okay. So I'm just going to erase it and rewrite it here because I want to get it closer to what we're trying to solve. So they want us to say, they want us to look at 5 times 3. Okay, so how can we use these equations or these facts from problem 3 to help us solve 5 times 3. That's what we're trying to figure out. So we're going to put the equal sign. I'm going to put a question mark because that's what I'm trying to figure out. So let's see if we can figure that out. So this is what you're going to do. Because we broke it up into 2 smaller ones, all we have to do is add the 2 arrays back together to get the bigger one. So this is the bigger one, the 5 times 3. Remember, this is still 5 rows, and if we look at the whole array before we broke it up, it's still 3 in each row. So this is the 5 times 3. So all you have to do is this. You have to take your answers, which is 5 and 10. Take those two, and because we broke them apart, we're going to add them back together. So let's add them back together. So we're going to do 5 plus 10. So by us adding this back together, then it'll give us the answer to the entire larger array before we broke it apart. So let's add it up. Well, 5 plus 10 is going to be 15. All right, so now we know the answer is going to be 15 for this. So I'm going to erase the question mark now, and I'm going to go ahead and put 15. Okay, so that's how we can use this. So they want us to explain. Explanations, usually you can do a drawing, or you can do some math to help you explain things, or you can explain it in words. I'm going to explain it in words what we did. So what we did was took the totals from number 3 and added them back together to find 5 times 3. The product for 5 times 3. Let's use our vocabulary word. So let's go ahead and write that. We took the totals from problem 3 and added them to get the product of 5 times 3. Okay, that would be our explanation. Okay, so I know you're probably saying, "Whew, Ms. Newman, that's a lot. Why did you even have to break it apart anyway when you could have just counted everything together?" Well, that's because, again, we're just starting to learn our threes. So we just want you to figure out different ways that you can find out the answer, because we are just learning our threes. But we know our ones and we know our twos, so we break it up into a group that has 1 and a group that has 2, and then add it back together, then we can figure it out, because we're still learning. All right, let's go to the next page, which is page 136. And that would be number 5. So let's switch my board to number 5, because Ms. Newman already got it set up for you. Ms. Newman thought ahead of time, and I said I'm going to set everything up for you so that I'm not wasting time writing and you're waiting. So I did that already for you. Okay, so this is number 5. Number 5 says, draw a line to the pair of multiplication equations that can be used to solve each multiplication problem. Write the missing product for each equation. So before we can draw lines, we need to write the missing products. Remember, I'm going to keep saying these definitions so that you can start to get used to them. So product is the answer to our multiplication equations. So that means we have to answer these multiplication equations before we can even draw the lines. So let's go ahead and answer that first. So if I look at 5 times 3, we can do our skip counting, and we can figure out what is 5 times 3. What I like to tell the kids, you can skip count by 3 until you get to, because remember, the first number is going to be the rows are group, and the second number is the columns are size. So it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at the array, then it's rows and columns. Well, let me do it this way. Rows, then columns. And then if you're looking at the groups, then it's your groups, then size. So it depends on what actual drawing you're looking at. Okay, so I would skip count by 3 and I would stop when I get to my 5th finger. So let's do that. I'm gonna skip count by 3, and when I stop, when I get to my 5th finger, that's gonna tell me what that answer is. That's one way you can practice your skip counting, or you can draw the picture. You can draw the picture of 5 groups and put 3 in each group, or if you like, you can actually write your skip count out on a sheet of paper. And then you can look at your skip count that way. Whichever one you prefer, you can do it. Ms. Newman is going to use the hand method, counting on her hands, because if I write on a sheet of paper, you can't really see it. So I'm just going to do the hand method. So I'm going to count by 3, skip count by 3s until I get to my 5th finger. So this is going to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So when I got to my 5th finger, this is 15. So the answer is going to be 15. All right. So let's go to this next one right here. It's going to be, now this is a break apart. This is actually a 6 times 3, and they broke it up into that 1 and 2 like we did on from numbers 1 through 4 in the first part of our homework. When we broke it up, this is the break apart. They have this is like 2 small arrays. The first array is this equation. The second array is this equation. That's what that is. So we have to multiply these, and then there's an addition sign in the middle. You're going to add them together to get the answer. So they're actually getting you used to practicing how to use that break apart strategy. So let's go and start with that first array, which this is going to be this equation. 6 times 1. Well, we know our 1s. 6 times 1 is going to be 6. So Ms. Newman is going to write 6 underneath. And then I'm going to put my plus sign. Then over here I have 6 times 2. Well, we already know our 2's because we've been doing our skip counting by 2's last week. So basically I'm going to skip count by 2, and I'm going to stop when I get to my 6th finger. So that is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6 fingers, the number 12. So this is going to be 12. Now all I have to do is add these 2 together to get my answer. So 6 plus 12 is going to equal 18. So that is 18. Now, Ms. Newman is not going to do these 3 because I want you to actually try that one on your own. And I like to know how it goes. Send me a little message in the comments and say, Ms. Newman, I did really well with her. Ms. Newman, it was okay, but I think I got it. So just let me know how that goes. I'm just going to do the first 2 because I want to see if you can do these 3 on your own. So now I'm going to jump across over here. So on the other side, these are actual grouped together. They are grouped together, and I'm going to put them in boxes so that you can see what I mean by it being grouped together. So this is a group. This is a group. This is a group. This one is a group. And then the last 2 is a group. Okay. So they actually put these into groupings. They are broken up. These you can say these are 2 arrays as well. This is 1 array, 7 times 2, 7 times 1 will be the other array. So we're going to put them separately so we can solve them, and then add them together to get the total answer. So that's why we have them broken up into groups. So again, we're still practicing the break apart strategy. So let's look at the one that I think is going to be for the two that we did, 5 times 3 equals 15. Well, a little hint is that look at your first numbers. Your first numbers kind of give you a hint to which one will match. So if I have a 5 and 5 times 3 right here, that means I'm probably going to be looking at these because they have a 5 in that first number too. So I'm going to look at those, and if my answers match, then I know that's exactly what it is, and I'm going to draw my line. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have 5 times 2. So I'm going to count by 2s until I get to my 5th finger. So this is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10. Then I'm going to put 10 on the line. Okay? So let's do 5 times 1. I'm going to count by 1 until I get to my 5th finger. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. Now all I have to do is add them back together to see if I get this total of 15. So let's do that. So we're going to do 10 plus 5. And this, if I add this together, this will give me 15. So now I know for sure that this is the matching one, and I'm going to draw my line to that one. Okay, let's try the next one we did, which was this one. So we're trying to find the one that equals 16. Again, look, not 16, I'm sorry, 18. So again, what you're going to do, let's look at the actual 2 right here that has the 6 and the 6 first. So automatically I'm thinking, hey, if I have 6 first, then I'm going to try to find one that has 6 over here and see if that works out. So when I look, the one that has the 6 is this one that's first. So I'm going to look at this one and see if that could be my matching one. Because remember, we're trying to get it to match the answer of 18. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with the first one, 6 times 1. That means I'm going to count by 1 until I get to my 6th finger. So let's do that. And this is just practicing our skip counting. I know you're saying, oh, I already know that. But I just want to make sure you get in the habit of practicing that skip counting. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when I got to my 6th finger, I got the number 6. So let's go ahead and write 6. All right, let's go to the next one. I have 6 times 2, so that means I'm going to count by 2s this time until I get to my 6th finger. So let's do that. That is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So I got 12, so I'm going to put 12 on the line. Now that we have both our answers, all we have to do is add them together to see if it will match our total of 18. So let's do that. So we're going to do 6 plus 12, and let's see what it equals. So 6 plus 12, this is going to equal 18. So it matches. So now I know that I can draw my line all the way to the bottom one. Okay, so now you have 3 to figure out. And I have 3 boxes on this side, so you can go ahead and try that. Again, drop me a line in the comments and just let me know how that worked out for you. All right, so let's go to that last problem, which is number 6. All right, so this is number 6. So number 6 says, Augie has 4 trees in his backyard. He hangs 3 bird feeders in each tree. How many bird feeders does Augie hang in all? Okay, so there are different ways that we can do this one. You can do equal groups if you like, or you can do the array. Ms. Newman's going to go ahead and do the array since we've been working with arrays for today's lesson. So they tell me that he has 4 trees, and 3 bird feeders are in each tree. Well, that 4 is going to be your rows, and that 3 is going to be how many is going to be in each row, because it says each bird feeder in each tree. 3 bird feeders in each tree, sorry. So that tells me if I'm writing this, I'm going to have 4 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And each row has each tree. You can think of this as a tree. This is 1 tree, 2 trees, 3 trees, 4 trees. And each tree has 3 bird feeders. So let's put the 3 bird feeders inside of each tree. So this will be 1 bird feeder, 2 bird feeders, 3 bird feeders. That's 1 tree. Let's do this one. 1 bird feeder, 2 bird feeders, 3 bird feeders. That's our second tree. Okay, let's go to the third tree. 1 bird feeder, 2 bird feeders, 3 bird feeders. Okay, now we have 1 more tree. So let's go ahead and put those 3 bird feeders. 1 bird feeder, 2 bird feeders, 3 bird feeders. All right, so we have drawn our picture and everything matches up. So with our story, so we have our 4 trees, and each tree has 3 bird feeders. So then it asks us, how many bird feeders does Augie hanging on? So they want to know total. Let's see if we can figure out what the total is. Let's see. So, I'm sorry, they had an announcement coming on the intercom. I just wanted to hear it. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep moving. So we can solve this by doing a few different things. We can skip count, we can write a multiplication equation, or we can write a repeat addition equation. Ms. Newman has been teaching all 3 today, because some kids prefer the skip count, some kids prefer the multiplication equation, and some kids prefer the repeat addition equation. So I just kind of like to hit all my students, like whichever one they prefer, because I always ask them, which one do you prefer? And they be like, I want this one or this one or this one. So I just do all of them so that everybody feels included and everybody can see exactly how their strategy works. So I'm going to do all 3. So I'm going to start with my multiplication equation. I'm just going to write it out. I'm not going to put the total yet, but I'm going to write it out. So again, when we're doing an array, let me write my blank. So blank times blank equals blank. So when we're doing an array, I just want to get you in the habit of knowing what these blanks are. The first blank is going to be your rows. The second blank is going to be your columns. And the last blank is going to be your total, which is also called your product. Okay, product is the answer to our multiplication equation. Remember that vocabulary word. So let's look at our rows. Remember, rows go left to right or right to left. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, or side to side. So when I look at this, I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Remember, we had 4 trees, 4 rows. So this is going to be 4. Now, they told us we had 3 bird feeders in each row, and our bird feeders are our columns. So we have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. So we're going to put 3. Now, we need to figure out exactly how much this is. Okay, so there are a couple ways we can do this. We can do the break apart, or we can do the skip count, or we can do, I'm doing the multiplication equation, or we can even do the repeat addition equation. So, Ms. Newman is going to do the break apart, and then I'm going to do all the other strategies as well. So for the break apart, I'm going to break it apart. Remember, today we've been breaking it apart into 1 and 2. We're breaking that 3 apart into 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to break this side into 1. So I'm going to put my line going down here, and this is going to be my 1. And I'm going to redraw it here so I can pull it out so you can see. So this is 1 tree, 2 trees, 3 trees, 4 trees. These are my 4 trees, and each tree has 1 in each tree has 1 bird feeder in each one. So this is the 1. I broke it down, and then I brought it out right here. Now for this one, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna break it out over here. So I'm gonna draw it over here. So I have 4 trees again, and this time I have 2 bird feeders in each tree. So that's what I'm gonna draw. That's 1 tree, 2 bird feeders, 2 trees, 2 bird feeders. This is the 3rd tree, 2 more bird feeders. And then I have 1 more tree with 2 more bird feeders. You can just say it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Oh, no, go ahead. So after I do that, now I can go ahead and write the actual multiplication sentence that goes with this. So I'm going to do the one for this first array right here that I broke off. So remember the rows and columns. First number is your row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So I'm going to put 4. Then times, and then I have 1 in each row. So that means 1 column. So that means 1. And now we're going to count them to see how many I have in all. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is 4. Okay. So now let's go to this one and write the multiplication equation. How many rows? Rows go first. That's what I have here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And then how many do I have in each row, or how many columns I have? 1, 2. So 2. And then we can do a skip count by 2 to figure out how many I have in all, since we're practicing our skip counting. So this will be 2, 4, 6, 8. So this will equal 8. Now that I have figured out what the smaller arrays is, now I can put them back together to figure out what that large one was. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure it out. Remember, the multiplication sentence for the large one is over here. We broke it up into 1 and 2. This is the 1 and this is the 2. So now I have to do is add them back together to figure out what this large one is. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to take our products, the answer to our multiplication equations, and add them together. So we're going to do 4 plus 8. Well, 4 plus 8 is going to be 12. So now I know that the answer for this is 12. So I'm going to put 12 over here. But Ms. Newman likes to make sure everything is good and correct, so I like to double check. So I'm going to do another strategy just to make sure that it is correct. Another strategy we could have done is to do a skip count. So let's see if I can erase that line. I don't want to, let's see if it'll let me do it without actually, it's kind of taking away my triangles, but that's still good. That'll work. That will work. It didn't do too bad. Okay. So we can do a skip count on the side just to double check to make sure our answer of 12 is correct. So because I have 3 bird feeders in each tree, or 3 in each row, I can skip count by 3. That'll give us that practice for skip counting. So this will be 3, let me get a different color, 3, 6, 9, and 12. So again, we got that same number 12. So it's looking like we got the same answer, the correct answer, but I want to do one more strategy just to make sure it's correct. So let's do the repeat addition sentence. So if I look at my first tree, I had 3, so I'm going to do 3 plus my second tree, I had 3, so 3 plus my third tree, I have 3, so 3 plus my fourth tree, I have 3, so 3. So if we add all these 3s up together, we can see exactly if we have the same answer. And just a little tip, I have 4 3s. Well, this is the same thing as the 4. And I have 3 of the 4s, same thing, 3. 4 3s right here. So let's go ahead and add this up. So we know that 3 plus 3 is 6. And then 6 plus this 3 is going to be 9. And 9 plus this 3 will give us a final answer of 12. So, hey, we did it correctly. We know that we did this correctly. So let's go ahead and look and answer our question. Our question asked us, how many bird feeders does Augie hang in all? Well, we can say, because remember, it's a story problem and we have to answer the question. So we can say with the word sentence, Augie has 12 bird feeders in all. All right. So that is the last problem. I hope this was very helpful for you. Remember, I didn't do everything on number 5 because I wanted to see if you could get the hang of it and try it. I want to give you an opportunity to try it, and again, drop me a comment and say, oh, I did really good with it, or I kind of struggle with it, and just send me a question and how did you do this? Ms. Newman is more than happy to send you a little message back trying to explain to you exactly why it is the way it is. But that is it for today. I don't think I have any announcements for the class other than tomorrow is our glow party, and I know the kids are going to be super excited for that. So it's going to be dancing and glow sticks and everything everywhere. So they're going to be super excited. I don't think we're going to get much done in the classroom because they're going to be amped up for that party. So parents, make sure that you get them ready for that glow party on tomorrow. That is about it that I have to say other than my usual ending. Make sure you're practicing that skip counting, the numbers we are working with as of now. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Practice that, and then we're almost done with learning all the numbers. So far we're covering a lot of numbers. So remember, if you can skip count, you can multiply. That is it for today. Have a great rest of your day, parents and students, and I will see you guys on tomorrow. Bye.